Ontem saiu Dev Diário com direito à confirmação de campeões, confirmação de novos mapas, confirmação de muita coisa e também contando que não vai acontecer Ultras tão cedo, tá? Vamos dar uma assistida, tudo isso que eu tô te falando foi um resumo que eu vi pelo WhatsApp e ainda não assisti, vamos comentar tudo que acontecer aqui, juntos com vocês. Então vem comigo que eu sou o Zerg, seja bem-vindo na evolução. Fala, time! Nada melhor do que saber o que vai acontecer na hora do almoço. Vou dar play, tá em inglês, mas eu leio... Caraca, tá alto. Mas eu leio pra vocês aqui tudo bonitinho, enquanto a gente vai passando. E, velho, tudo que for acontecendo, a gente vai parando, comentando, bem de boa. É mais um react comentado aqui mesmo. Não esquece de deixar um likezão aí, agora que você tá almoçando. E 1000 likes nesse vídeo. Perfeito. Alan Murray, bora!
Once again with your introduction to the latest patch. For this episode, we'll be taking a deep look
Novidades de 2022,
including our upcoming priorities as a team and what you can expect from us
prioridade de
this year.
equipe, opa.
Let's dive right into the state of the game.
Entrar na cabeça, vou entrar na cabeça do estado de
We
jogo.
believe we've made some good progress over the past few patches, with game balance and champion balance in a decent place, and stability and latency improving for many.
Tá, latência de jogo já começa errado aí. Eu vou pausar muito, tá? Balanceamento de jogo tá legal, eu gosto. Acho que não tem nada quebrado, igual o que nem na Europa, que foi a única coisa que eu lembro que eu vi quebrado. Então, até aí tudo bem.
That said, we hear you and know that there are still issues with game
Problemas
fairness,
tem.
including AFK and intentional feedback.
Ó, já vou
We
falar
also
dos
want to
problemas,
give you
hein?
more visibility on when we penalize players based on your reports. These are really high priorities with the team, even if we don't have specific updates today. We're still working on releasing into South Asia.
Meu Deus do céu, que triste, velho. Calma. A primeira coisa que eles falaram aqui é que não tem muita novidade sobre os AFKs e tal, mas assiste o vídeo de ontem se você não assistiu. O vídeo que eu fui fazer o desafio e ficou 2 AFKs no meu time. E eu tava até jogando com o 𝗏𝗍𝗱𝗏𝗏 lá, que é um cara que fez o reality show, que é pro player e tal, e você vê que ele não desiste também. E como é importante denunciar no final, tá? Eu explico nesse vídeo o quanto é importante no final do vídeo. Vai lá, assiste e entende. Isso aqui é super importante, foi dito pela Riot pra gente direto, tá? Agora, a versão console no jogo está sendo feito teste na Ásia, pelo jeito.
As well as our console version of the game, but we won't have any updates on those in 2022. We appreciate your...
Igual falaram que tinha uma notícia ruim, é isso, então. Em 2022 não tem nada de console pra gente. Então, se você tava esperando pra console, não é meu caso, eu jogo muito pouco console. Gosto mais de mobile mesmo, cara, gosto de celular, mas tudo bem.
Patience while we've been working through these, and we look forward to providing more news when we can. Today, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about gameplay. Looking at patch 3.1, we're taking a big step forward with our largest gameplay overhaul yet. WildRift is going elemental.
Rift Elemental. Ah, os dragão. Eu fiz um vídeo sobre isso.
Rift is an evolution of the current WildRift map, adapting the dragon and terrain mechanics from 𝗏𝗏𝐶, but with a few streamlined changes. This will look a little different from what you saw in January, because we're looking to achieve a few new things. In addition to team comps, runes, and item builds,
Tá, mudou
we
do
want to
janeiro
make
pra
games
cá.
play out differently each time. Between objective team coordination and individual ability to impact a game, Elemental Rift will give us more tools to make sure that the game remains dynamic and fun. We're also looking to even out the gap between coordinated teams and solo players. We have a few ideas on how we can achieve this, and trying a variety of changes in the future will help us hit these goals in the most satisfying way possible.
Ok.
With a huge change like this, we want to be prepared to make adjustments, so we're thinking of Elemental Rift as part of a testing phase. In patch 3.2, you might see a version of it that looks very different from what you'll see today because we're still exploring different options and deciding what will work best. Wherever we land, we'll be keeping a close eye on the effects of these changes, and we're looking
Ele tá
forward to hearing
explicando
your
pra caramba
feedback.
porque pode ter muito bug, é o
In
que
this
ele tá
first
dizendo.
version of Elemental Rift,
Ó, dragão da
each
montanha.
dragon offers a unique buff, but taking enough dragons also grants the Dragon Soul, a powerful buff that matches one of the dragon's elements. We're still
Perfeito.
working on how many kills it should take, but in this test run, Dragon Soul will trigger after the third dragon.
Após o
So
terceiro
you'll be
dragão você
able
vai
to
ganhar
obtain
alma,
3
ok,
buffs
mas
along
pode
with your
mudar.
soul. Infernal Dragon now grants bonus attack damage and ability power, and the Infernal Soul creates explosions around your abilities and attacks.
Tá, o dragão de fogo agora vai dar explosãozinha e dar ataque. E dano
Mountain
da
Dragon
atividade.
increases your armor and magic resist, and the Mountain Soul grants a shield after not taking damage for a short while.
Agora o dragão da montanha dá um escudo, mesma coisa, mas na alma. Pera aí, deixa eu pausar porque senão vai ficar bagunçado. O dragão de fogo dá dano e uma explosãozinha na alma. O dragão da montanha dá armadura e resistência mágica e escudo na alma. E agora a alma restaura mais vida ao causar dano aos inimigos. Legal, a do oceano. Só que ele não tem... Deixa eu até confirmar aqui. Vou voltar um pouquinho. Eu não li. E por último, eu acho que ele restaura vida por segundo, quer ver?
Taking damage for a short while. Ocean Dragon restores health over time.
Restaura a vida por segundo mesmo.
Restores more health when dealing damage to enemies. The first 2 dragons are random. Then after that, all dragons will match the element of the rift. You'll always know which dragon type is coming next before it spawns, so you can prepare to fight for it or trade a different objective if it doesn't fit your team comp. You might have noticed that we didn't cover one element. With the arrival of Elemental Rift, we're removing Cloud Dragon. During our playtests, we felt that Cloud Dragon offered mostly hidden power that was hard to notice in-game, making it less interesting to play around and less enticing for objective-minded teams. Without Cloud Dragon, we'll have extra space for the more exciting elements to
Tiraram o dragão de vento mesmo.
You'll also see that Dragons, Rift Herald and Barons spawn later in the game, and Dragons will be a bit easier to take. By building more time into objective spawns, we're hoping to strike a better balance between team performance and individual play. Players will have more options to choose how they want to play the early game, rather than needing to rush the objective right away. We've also totally revamped Elder Dragon, making it much closer to its League PC kin.
Vai vir o
After the
mesmo.
Dragon Soul has been taken by a team, Elder Dragons will be up for grabs, offering a game-ending true damage burn effect and executing enemies with...
Caraca, é isso, ó. Queima de dano verdadeiro pra executar os inimigos com vida baixa. Meu Deus do céu, é muito forte esse buffinho, é muito
and they
forte.
drop to low health. If your team picks up Elder, it's time to fight. After the second dragon is slain in each game, the map terrain changes significantly, offering new gameplay opportunities that match the third dragon's element. The Infernal Rift burns away brush and opens new pathways to red and blue buff.
Mesma coisa, o dragão vermelho abre o mapa.
Boarding and aggressive invades, but also means the path back to your base is much shorter. The Mountain Rift forges new terrain in the jungle, as well as a defensive wall in the front of the dragon.
O de pedra
This rift offers new
cria
flanking
terreno.
routes and ways to force your opponents into a bottleneck for an AoE explosion.
Legal.
The Ocean Rift spawns more
E o
brush
de
across the
oceano...
map with bumper crops of honeyfruit.
Ó,
Use the
cria
brushes for
frutamel também, não
supplying
sabia.
ambushes,
Cria
or just
mata
put
e
on some
frutamel.
rainy lo-fi beats and heal up for the next fight. Whether you're hopeful or nostalgic, we know there are many gameplay elements that players love about this map, and we aspire to keep the spirit of the Rift true for WildRift players. However, we're also hoping to address some of the gameplay pain points you may have encountered. So, we'll be testing this Rift during limited time windows in a totally separate queue during patches 3.1 and 3.2. This will allow us to monitor and make adjustments before it replaces the existing WildRift map fully in our pre-season in patch 3.3 later this year. Until then, enjoy the current Rift in ranked and esports broadcasts as we head towards the Icons Global Championship. And again, we're exploring versions of Elemental Rift that might look different from this one, or even...
Tá, teve uma notícia legal aqui. Eles não vão instalar diretamente no jogo. Vai ser uma fila diferente pra quem quiser testar, até para não estragar o competitivo, né? Porque como eles não têm dois Seven aqui, né? Um de competitivo e outro, por enquanto, então eles não vão colocar para não estragar o competitivo, talvez venha com bugs, vão deixar testando uma versão inteira, uma fila diferente. Vai acabar, acho que ninguém vai jogar. Não sei, mas eu vou testar com certeza, trazer no canal aqui, relaxa.
What's currently in League PC, expect to hear more about that in the future. We're looking forward to seeing how your games play out with raw elemental power at your disposal, and we can't wait to hear your feedback on these changes when they roll out for testing.
Champions!
Shen, the Eye of Twilight, will be teleporting in very soon. Shen wields his blades of steel and spirit to protect Ionia and its
Shen,
allies
já
in the
sabemos,
Barren
né?
Lane. His spirit blade follows him and grants him more damage against his foes and protection when his team needs it most. Shen isn't a particularly stealthy Ginker,
Shen do
but he
Rio.
makes up for it with defensive options and hard crowd control. Slide on into the enemy team to taunt them and block basic attacks with Spirit's Refuge to nullify enemy carries. With extreme tankiness and the ability to stand united with allies anywhere on the map, Shen maintains the balance of his team at any cost.
Mas essa Diana também jogou mal, né?
Tipping the scales in support and mid lane, 𝗏𝐼𝐷, the Enlightened One, empowers her teammates and slows her
Também
foes.
sabíamos.
𝗏𝐼𝐷
Fizemos
has a
vídeo,
couple
tá?
of
Tem
changes
vídeo no
from
canal
the
dos
PC
dois.
version, with a greater focus on her Battle Mage playstyle. We thought we'd go into a little more detail with 𝗏𝐼𝐷 to highlight some of her differences. First up, we've moved 𝗏𝐼𝐷's ultimate to her passive. Every spell 𝗏𝐼𝐷 casts, she gains a stack of mantra, and at 3 stacks, her next ability is empowered. Inner Flame fires a blast of energy, dealing damage and slowing enemies. When empowered, it leaves a slow field, which explodes a second time. Focused Resolve now tethers up to 2 nearby champions. If those champions fail to escape the tether range, they're rooted for a short time. When empowered, this ability forms an additional tether, forcing those enemies to scatter. If any of the tethers are
legal,
broken in time, the enemies get a mega
Eu não
root for a
lembrava
longer
de ter
period.
isso no review que nós
𝗏𝐼𝐷's
fizemos do
third
PC.
ability, Inspire, grants an ally a shield that offers movement speed. Under the effect of mantra, the shield could empower an additional nearby ally. Finally, 𝗏𝐼𝐷's brand new ultimate, Transcendent Embrace, forms a ring of spirit energy, dealing damage, slowing and knocking enemies into the center if they're caught on the edge. We want to give 𝗏𝐼𝐷 players more ways to control her enemies throughout the game, and Transcendent Embrace is the centerpiece of that playstyle. In testing, we called it the donut. While this year is starting off a little quieter, we're going to ramp up the amount of champs later in 2022, and we wanted to give you a small taste of who you can expect. This year, we started with peace, harmony, and fluffy cats. But 2022 is the year of the Edgelord. Later this year, we'll be revisiting some battle-scarred locations in Winter.
Vamos lá, agora que é a parte.
We're heading to Zorn, Bilgewater,
Zal, Água de Sentina e Noxus.
Nothing personal, kid. We'll see you there.
Ih, não falou quem sou não.
Our
A
mission
gente já
this year for
sabe.
gameplay is to make games more satisfying and motivating to play. So we're focusing on competition, social play, skill, and challenge. That sounds pretty broad, but giving you more freedom and skill expression in your games is a huge part of that effort. And of course, keeping the game balanced is a top priority too. We're giving more options to fighters in this patch with the introduction of new items. Divine Samurai is the perfect option for champs looking to brawl.
Tem vídeo do canal também explicando o que eles fazem.
Damage. We want to offer a sturdier alternative for bruisers that traditionally build Trinity Force. After using an ability, your next basic attack will deal a percent of your target's maximum health as bonus damage. If that target is a champion, you will also heal for some of the damage you dealt. Hullbreaker is for champs who want more durability and split-pushing power. While no ally champions are near you, you'll gain bonus armor and magic resist and deal more damage against structures. You'll also give a mini boost to nearby minions, so they can keep you company on your split-pushing journey.
Bate bem na
Also in this patch, we're making some small changes to other items. Fimbulwinter will be more closely aligned with its PC version, offering its trademark shield on slows as well as hard crowd control.
Da lentidão, legal.
AD and armor item, as we felt that there were too many unimpactful choices offered by the AD and health items in WildRift. Fulfilling its original intended purpose, we're reworking Solari Chargeblade's passive to make it more appealing to mums.
Ixi, Maria, será que voltaram?
Significant buff for champions that can pull off
Esse aí merecia mudar, ninguém usava.
Morgana or Alistar. Pulling off the perfect CC chain could mean you get to cast your active item multiple times in a fight. In addition to a whole host of items, we wanted to take a close look at the support role. We know supports have needed more love for a while, so in this update, we're rebalancing support summoner spells to give players more active options in the laning phase and in teamfights. First, we're strengthening the initial slow on exhaust to give more offensive and defensive options.
Gostei.
Heal will now grant more health to the healed ally and less to the user. And Ignite is retuned to be more effective in the early game and weaker in the late game. One idea we're thinking about for 2022 is theming our major patches to address specific game balance or systemic changes. Next patch, we're hoping to have some updates on map vision, and we're also looking at the impact of our current rune set. Which system should we look at next? Leave us some suggestions in the comments.
Interessante, hein? Vamos para as ranqueadas.
The next season of Ranked will soon be underway, and that means there's a new glorious skin up for grabs. Just make sure she doesn't grab you first.
Ah, é a skin da Evelyn.
With the start of the new year of Ranked, we're giving the Glorious theme a makeover. Glorious Crimson Evelyn is your skin reward for this season. The best is, don't let her flop. Starting with Evelyn, you can also grab what we're calling a weapon augment for Glorious skins in the Ranked store to serve even harder. This visual update empowers the Chosen Champ's source of power to recognize your commitment to the climb. With our explorations coming to an end, many mysteries are still left unsolved.
Nossa, essa do galho eu achei horrível. Vocês gostaram? A Shyvana também.
Psychic Detective Senna is on the case and making her debut in this wild past, just in time to help us get to the bottom of this mind-bending world.
A da Senna é porque é muito linda a skin faroeste dela, não tem jeito, velho.
In Champ Select, if you're in the jungle, you'll now automatically be assigned Spike. This way, you won't face Final Boss Level 1 red buff if you accidentally switched away. We're introducing the News tab. Patch notes, game news, community events, esports and videos are now easily accessible through the app.
Qualquer dia vai ter até meu vídeo lá, imagina.
In January, we're going to be running more events this year with less downtime between each one. But part of that is going to be varying the types of events we run and experimenting with different ways to play it. To give you a taste of what's happening later this year in WildRift, we'll be revisiting High Noon, Pool Party, Pulse Fire, and maybe even further beyond, further beyond, further beyond, further beyond. Sorry, I got distracted. Our biggest focuses this year will be on our shared moments with League PC, like Lunar New Year. We'll collaborate a few times a year on huge, unforgettable moments with new skins, stories, and more. Those larger events will stay under wraps for now. Now, let's get back to it and showcase some of the skins headed your way in patch 3.1.
Mais ou menos, mais ou menos. Mais ou menos. Essa é legalzinha. Essa é legal. Essa é muito legal. Um time todo de pijaminha deve ser legal, mas não gostei. Mais ou menos também.
We'll be back in May with more updates and announcements. We wish you good luck on your climb, harness the power of dragons, and get ready to defend Runeterra's connection to the spirit realm. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you on the Rift.
Acabou? Acabou? Não vai ter nada no finalzinho? Porque normalmente tem uma... nada. Faliu. Não teve nada. Então, teve algumas coisinhas que a gente não sabia. Por exemplo, o mapa ter vindo uma fila ranqueada diferente. Nada demais, eu acho, que a gente, tipo assim, tomou surpresa. Mas confirmaram o bafinho, por exemplo, que eu não sabia que era confirmado. A parada da JINX ganhar a asinha é bem legal, né, velho? Você viu? E acho que só, né? Acho que o resto tudo a gente já sabia, já tinha trago no canal aqui. E tava só esperando. Essa notícia aqui também é bem legal. Que vai vir coisas, as notícias diretamente no cliente. Isso é muito bom. Desde o PC tem, eu acho isso importante. Comentem o que vocês acharam. Pra mim, tá massa, vai ter coisas novas aí, mas vai demorar a mudar ainda, né? Então, achei que ia ser meio que obrigatório a gente aceitar a mudança. A gente vai ter uma fase de adaptação por ser filas ranqueadas diferentes. Lembra, na loja tem os pontos de negócio de escassez não acaba, né? Os pontos da Oriana, pra você gastar ainda. Oriana? Não lembro se é a Oriana que tá lá ainda, mas os pontos de ranqueada. É isso, meu time, vou ficando por aqui. Até a próxima, falou, fui!